lead to Cliff Street. Then take the first right. At the stop sign, turn right onto Lackawanna Avenue.
Into my daughter's shampoo bottle. When she screamed in the shower from the burning, Mom laughed. If she's bald now, maybe she'll stop being so vain. Dad said, well, at least she'll save money on hair products. Sister added, it was just a prank. I was having fun. When I rushed to help her, they locked the bathroom door from outside and held it shut. I could hear my daughter crying and screaming inside while the bleach burned her scalp. Mom threw the key out the window. Let her suffer. They had no idea.
Starting route 1305 to 1467.
In the shower from the burning, Mom laughed. If she's bald now, maybe she'll stop being so vain.
At the light, turn left onto Franklin Avenue.
Sister added, it was just a prank. I was having fun. When I rushed to help her, they locked the bathroom door from outside and held it shut.
Can you get the straw for me? It should be in that bag. Here.
I could hear my daughter crying and screaming inside while the bleach burned her scalp. Mom could...
Here. No, straw. Get straw. Got it. Thank you. You're welcome.
No, let her suffer a bit longer. They had no idea what was coming next when I called 911 and showed them the security footage of them deliberately pouring bleach into the bottle and then preventing me from saving my daughter. What happened to them after that changed their lives forever.
Go past this light. Then at the next, then take the first right onto Mulberry Street.
My mother said, her face flushed with laughter. Something clicked in my peripheral vision. Denise pulled the bathroom key from her pocket and walked to the window at the end of the hallway. She opened it and tossed the key outside into the bushes below. Time seemed to slow down. My 15-year-old daughter was trapped in there, something burning her, and these people were treating it like an entertainment. These people who were supposed to be family. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? My daughter is
At the light, turn right onto Mulberry Street.
Shampoo and she's screaming that it's burning her. They won't let me open the door. The operator's voice became immediately sharp and professional. Ma'am, who won't let you open the door? My parents and my sister. They're holding it shut. Stay on the line. Units are being dispatched to your
Stay in the middle lane.
The laughter behind me died down. Valerie's smirk faltered. You called the cops? Are you insane? Get away from that door.
In half a mile, turn right onto North Webster Avenue.
Denise, uncertainty crossing his features. They stepped back. I immediately tried the handle again, but it remained locked. Inside, Natalie had gone quieter, which somehow frightened me more than the screaming. Natalie, baby, can you hear me? It hurts so much.
At the next light, turn right.
My head is on fire. I know, sweetheart. Help is coming. Try to rinse it with water. Can you do that? I've been. It's not stopping. My hands curled into fists. I looked at the three people standing in my hallway, their expressions now ranging from defensive to worried. What did you put in her shampoo? Getting closer. The sound seemed to snap my father out of whatever amused daze he'd been in. Now hold on. Let's all calm down.
At the next stop sign, turn left.
Mother and sister were just joking around. Joking. I stared at him. You think chemically burning your granddaughter's scalp is a joke? Red and blue lights flashed through the windows. Car doors slammed outside. Heavy footsteps pounded up the front walkway. The doorbell rang, followed by loud knocking. Police. Open up.
At the stop sign, turn left onto Ridge Row Avenue,
Two officers stood
then
there,
arrive at your
hands in the air.
destination.
My daughter is locked in the upstairs bathroom. Someone put bleach in her shampoo and she's been screaming. They threw the key outside. The female officer, whose badge read Officer K. Martinez, spoke into her radio. We need fire rescue for a forced entry and medical assistance for a minor with chemical burns. Both officers followed me upstairs. My family had scattered slightly, trying to look innocent. The male officer, Officer Derek Marshall, assessed the bathroom door. Natalie, this is Officer Marshall. We're going to get you out of there, okay? Step away from the door if you can. Okay.
Arrive
Heard a
at your
small voice from
destination.
inside. Officer Marshall
Arrive.
took 2 steps back and kicked the door near the handle. The frame splintered and the door burst open. Steam poured out. Natalie stood in the shower, water still running, her hands covering her head. Even from the doorway I could see the angry red welts across her scalp where chunks of her beautiful auburn hair had come away. Officer Martinez moved past me. Sweetheart, I'm Officer Martinez. Can you turn off the water for me? Natalie complied with trembling hands. The officer wrapped her in a towel and guided her out. Paramedics were already coming up the stairs with their equipment. My mother tried to approach. Now, Natalie, honey, it was just. Don't you dare speak to her. I positioned myself between them. Don't even look at her. The paramedics began examining Natalie's scalp, their expressions growing more serious. One of them spoke quietly to officers.
Then take the first right onto Linden Street.
This is assault causing bodily harm to a minor. And according to the mother's statement, you physically prevented her from helping her daughter while she was in distress. We were just keeping her calm. She was being hysterical. Officer Martinez's jaw tightened. You prevented a mother from reaching her injured child. You threw away the key to the room where that child was trapped and suffering. The paramedics were preparing to take Natalie downstairs on a stretcher. She looked so small and scared, her scalp covered in protective gauze. I grabbed my purse and keys. I'm going with her. Of course, Officer Martinez said. We'll need to get a formal statement from you at the hospital. Officer Marshall will stay here. As the paramedics carried Natalie down, I paused at the top of the stairs and looked back at my family. I have security cameras. The one in the hallway. The one in the kitchen.
At the stop sign, turn right onto Linden Street.
You're bluffing.
Then turn left
Am
onto
I?
Harrison
The
Avenue.
camera in the kitchen that you walked right past when you took the bleach bottle from under the sink? The hallway camera that recorded you going into the bathroom with it? The same camera that caught all 3 of you laughing and holding that door shut while my daughter screamed?
At the light, turn left onto Harrison Avenue.
2 houses down. My family had mocked me for being paranoid. Funny how that worked out. At the hospital, doctors confirmed the severity of Natalie's burns. The bleach had caused significant damage. She'd need ongoing treatment and would likely have permanent scarring in some areas. Her hair would grow back in patches, if at all, depending on how badly the follicles were damaged. They admitted her overnight for observation. I sat beside her bed, holding her hand while she drifted in and out of sleep with pain medication. Officer Martinez arrived around 9 o'clock the next morning with a detective. This is Detective Andrea Webb. She's taking over the case.
In half a mile, turn right onto East Gibson Street.
With sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. She sat down across from me and opened her notebook. I reviewed the security footage from your home system. Your family signed consent for us to access it. Would you be willing to walk me through what happened from your perspective? I did, my voice steady despite the rage simmering underneath everything. Detective Webb took detailed notes, occasionally asking clarifying questions. Your sister claims it was a prank gone wrong. She says she didn't know household bleach would cause this kind of damage. She's 32 years old. She's not stupid.
At the next stop
She knew
sign,
exactly what
turn
she
right. At the stop sign, turn right onto East Gibson Street. In a quarter mile, turn left onto Richter Drive. Turn left onto Richter Drive. Then take the first right onto Myrtle Street. At the stop sign, turn right onto Myrtle Street. In a quarter mile, turn left onto James Avenue. Go past the railroad crossing, then at the stop sign, turn left onto James Avenue.
Let's see if he's here, down here. Nope, not yet.
At the stop sign, turn left onto James Avenue. Then the destination is on your right.
God damn auto start. I hate that thing. It's so obnoxious. And then that's Casey. He has a gun so we can go back to the college. There's the university right here.
Start en route. Head west on Myrtle Street. Then take the first left onto Richter Drive. At the stop sign, turn left onto Richter Drive. Then take the first right onto East Gibson
They
Street.
held the door shut while a child screamed for help inside a locked bathroom. They threw away the key. My mother specifically said to let her suffer longer. Detective Webb nodded slowly. Yes, the audio from your security footage captured that statement. It's quite damning. She closed her notebook and looked at me directly. Based on the evidence and the severity of your daughter's injuries,
Turn right
we're
onto
moving
East
forward with
Gibson
charges.
Street.
Your sister will be charged with assault causing bodily harm, reckless endangerment of a minor, and criminal mischief. Your parents are being charged as accessories after the fact and with child endangerment for preventing you from rendering aid. The word should have brought satisfaction, but all I felt was empty. Good.
In a quarter
That's
mile,
also the
turn
matter,
left
so
onto
I-
Harrison Avenue.
Your daughter's medical bills will be substantial. You may want to consult with an attorney about a lawsuit. I'd already been thinking about that. I will. Detective Webb stood. We'll be in touch as the case progresses. If your family
Go
is
past this
contact
stop
me or
sign.
your daughter,
Then
let
at the
us know
next one,
immediately.
turn left.
They left around 10. Natalie woke up shortly after, groggy and disoriented. Mom? I'm here, baby. Am I going to be okay? The question broke something in me.
At the stop
Yes.
sign, turn
You're going to be fine. The doctors are taking good care of you. My head hurts.
at the stop sign, turn right onto Pine
Give me more
Street.
medicine soon.
Then turn left onto
She was
Harrison
fine.
Avenue.
Why did Aunt Valerie do that? How do you explain cruelty to someone who's never understood it? How do you tell your child that sometimes people hurt others for no reason except their own twisted amusement? I don't know, sweetheart. But she's never going to
At the
hurt me
stop
again.
sign, turn left onto Harrison Avenue.
They won't either. I promise you. Natalie drifted back to sleep. I sat there in the uncomfortable hospital chair, watching monitors beep and watching my daughter breathe, and I made plans. Over the next few days, things moved quickly. My family was formally arrested and charged. The local news picked up the story.
In 3/4 of a mile, turn right onto Music Street.
Interviews from distant relatives expressing shock, from old friends offering support. Valerie hired a lawyer who immediately tried to paint her as the victim of a joke gone wrong. Kenneth and Denise claimed they'd been caught up in the moment and hadn't realized the seriousness of the situation. The security footage told a different story, especially the kitchen camera that showed Valerie carefully opening the
Start en
fridge
route to
and
1209 Ridge Row Avenue.
shampoo container. There was nothing accidental about her movements.
In a quarter mile, turn right.
I hired a personal injury attorney named Robert Walsh who specialized in assault cases. He reviewed everything and smiled grimly. This is one of the most clear-cut cases I've ever seen. The video evidence alone is devastating.
Go past this light.
Add in the police
Then at
reports,
the next one,
medical records, and
turn
the
right.
Oh, it's the next one, sorry.
They don't have a leg to stand on. How much are we talking about? Medical expenses, both current and future. Pain and suffering. Emotional distress. Footage clearly shows premeditation and deliberate action. This
At the
moves
light,
forward to trial.
turn right onto
The
Linden
criminal
Street.
trial came first.
Then turn
I
left
sat in
onto
the courtroom
Prescott
every
Avenue.
single day, watching my family squirm in their seats. Valerie had lost weight and looked haggard. My mother kept dabbing at her eyes with tissues, playing the sympathetic grandmother card. My father sat stone-faced, occasionally whispering to his lawyer.
At the stop sign,
The
turn left
prosecution
onto
presented
Prescott
security
Avenue.
footage. The
Then
court
turn
reported
right
scientists
onto
who
Ridge
washed
Row
Valerie
Avenue.
poured bleach into the shampoo bottle. They watched all three of them laugh outside the bathroom door. They heard my mother's words about letting Natalie suffer. Several jurors looked visibly upset. One woman in the back row was crying.
At the
Natalie
stop
had to
sign,
testify.
turn right
I
onto
prepared
Ridge
her
Row
as best I
Avenue.
could, but nothing really prepares a child for sitting in a courtroom describing their trauma.
Oh, there it
She was
is.
17 now, nearly 2 years having passed.
In
through
800
that terrible
feet,
day.
turn
Her hair
right.
had grown back in uneven patches. She wore a wig to court. Can you tell us what happened that day? The prosecutor asked gently. Natalie's voice was steady but quiet. I was taking a shower. I put shampoo in my hair like normal. Then it started burning. Really bad.
Turn right,
I
then the
screamed for my
destination
mom.
is on your left.
What happened next? I could hear her trying to get in, but the door was locked. I heard my grandma and
Thank you.
I see it too.
Move to your right, William, please.
Sure.
accusation that she stole her jewelry. Daughter refused to take the 95-degree heat while all the other kids were playing. My sister borrowed my 12-year-old daughter's brand new car without permission while we were out. She crashed it into a tree, completely destroying it, then called the cops on my child, claiming she had stolen it from her. Our parents lied to the police to protect my golden sister, saying, "That girl is always stealing things from her aunt." When I tried to explain the truth to the officers, my sister slapped me hard across the face. "Shut your lying mouth." My father shoved me down to the ground. "Stop defending that little thief." Brother twisted my arm behind my back. "Your daughter belongs in jail where she can't steal anymore." They actually had my 12-year-old daughter arrested and taken
That's
away
new.
in
They didn't have this
handcuffs while
before.
my sister stood there smirking at us. I stayed silent and did this. I collected all the evidence. 3 days later, their faces went pale. The morning started perfectly ordinary. My daughter Violet had just turned 15 3 weeks prior, and my husband Grant and I had surprised her with a custom electric car designed specifically for young drivers. It was street legal with all the safety features and speed limiters required by law, perfect for someone with a learner's permit. We'd saved for 2 years to afford it. Violet was responsible beyond her years. She'd taken the driving course, passed her learner's permit test, and treated that car like her most prized possession.
We might not make it if we can get it other places.
Alright.
The vehicle represented independence to her, a symbol that we trusted her grown maturity. That Saturday morning, Grant and I needed to attend a work conference 3 hours away. Violet was supposed to stay with my younger brother, but he canceled last minute due to a stomach bug. My sister Bridget immediately volunteered, insisting it would give her quality time with him. Against my better judgment, I agreed.
Is that him done that yet?
Bridget had always been the favorite child. Growing up, our mother Kathleen made excuses for every mistake my sister made while
Yeah, he's really
scrutinizing my
going fast.
every move. Our father Roger enabled this dynamic, treating Bridget like fragile crystal while expecting me to handle everything independently. My brother Preston simply followed their lead, never questioning the obvious favoritism. We'd been at the conference barely 2 hours when my phone exploded with notifications. The first call came from a number I didn't recognize. A police officer informed me that my daughter had been arrested for grand theft auto. My blood turned to ice. The officer explained that my sister had reported Violet for stealing her vehicle and crashing it. According to the report, my daughter had taken the car without permission while Bridget was sleeping, driven recklessly through the neighborhood, and smashed it into an oak tree on Riverside Drive. I tried explaining the situation. The car belonged to Violet. We had all the purchase documents, registration papers, and insurance records in our names. The officer seemed uncertain but said he had 3 witnesses corroborating my sister's version of events. Those witnesses were Bridget, my mother, and my father. Grant drove like a madman back to our hometown. Every mile felt like 10. I kept calling Violet's phone, but it went straight to voicemail. My hands shook so badly I could barely hold myself. How could this be happening? We arrived at my parents' house to find police cars in the driveway. I jumped out before Grant even fully stopped and ran toward the front door. Violet sat on the porch steps, her face streaked with tears, a female officer standing nearby. My baby looked so small and terrified. Before I could reach
Because we're
her,
ahead of it.
Bridget stepped
Just
outside.
barely.
Her left arm was in a sling, and she had a bandage across her forehead. She'd actually injured herself in the crash, which explained the dramatic presentation. My sister had always possessed a flair for theatrics. My mother emerged behind her, wearing her trademark expression of disappointed superiority. Roger followed, his jaw set in that stubborn way that meant he'd already made up his mind about the truth. Preston brought up the rear, cracking his knuckles in what I recognized as an intimidation tactic. The lead officer, a middle-aged man named Sergeant Morrison, approached me with his notepad. I immediately launched into an explanation about the vehicle's true ownership. I mentioned the purchase receipts, the registration documents, the insurance policy listing Violet as an authorized driver under our supervision. Bridget interrupted with a sob that sounded rehearsed. She claimed I'd always been jealous of her success and was now trying to frame her. According to her fabricated story, she purchased the car 2 months ago as a treat for herself. She'd been kind enough to let Violet take pictures with it, which apparently made my daughter believe she could just take it whenever she wanted. Kathleen stepped forward to support this fiction. My mother swore that Violet had behavioral problems. She painted a picture of a troubled child who constantly took things that didn't belong to her. Kathleen described incidents that simply never happened, creating an entire false history of my daughter's supposed thievery. I opened my mouth to protest, to demand they stop lying. Bridget moved faster than I anticipated. Her palm connected with my cheek in a sharp crack that echoed across the lawn. The force of it snapped my head to the side. She screamed at me to shut my lying mouth. Her voice carried that edge of hysteria she'd always been able to summon when she needed sympathy.
This one will shoot the whole train.
All right.
Starting route to 1615 Church Street.
He hissed in my ear that Violet belonged in
Proceed
jail
to
where
South
she
Main
couldn't
Street.
feel anymore.
Then take a slight
Preston's
left
grip
turn.
tightened, and I gasped. Grant File Detective, her palm connected with my cheek in a sharp crack that echoed. I'd just take it whenever she wanted. Kathleen stepped forward to support this fiction. My mother swore that Violet had behavioral problems. She painted a picture of a troubled child who constantly took things that didn't belong to her. Kathleen described
In
incidents
3.7
that
miles,
never
turn
happened,
left onto Drinker
creating an
Turnpike.
entire false history of my daughter's supposed thievery. I opened my mouth to protest, to demand they stop lying. Lying mouth. Her voice carried that edge of hysteria she'd always been able to summon when she needed sympathy. Bridget
Starting
accused me
route
of
to
being a
546
terrible
Main
mother who
Street.
couldn't accept that my daughter was. She sobbed
In
about how I
3.7
always
miles,
tried to ruin
turn
her
left
life out
onto
of
Drinker
spite.
Turnpike.
Roger grabbed my shoulders, snapped my head to the side. She screamed at me to shut my lying mouth. Her voice carried that edge of hysteria she'd always been able to summon when she needed sympathy. Bridget accused me of being a terrible mother who couldn't accept that my daughter was a criminal. She sobbed about how I'd always tried to ruin her life out of spite. Roger grabbed my shoulders and shoved me backward. I stumbled and fell hard onto the grass. He loomed over me, his face red with up, but Preston was suddenly there. My brother grabbed my arm and wrenched it behind my back, applying pressure until pain shot through my shoulder. He hissed in my ear that Violet belonged in jail where she couldn't steal anymore. Preston's grip tightened, and I gasped. Grant finally reached us and shoved my brother away from me. He helped me to my feet while demanding to know what was wrong with my family. The officers moved in to separate everyone, ordering calm. Sergeant Morrison asked for proof of ownership. I told him all our documents were at home, about 40 minutes away. I could retrieve them immediately. He seemed willing to wait, but Bridget produced a crumpled bill of sale from her purse. It looked official enough at first glance, complete with a dealership stamp and signatures. Kathleen backed up this false evidence with more lies. She claimed to have been present when Bridget purchased the vehicle. Roger added that he'd helped his daughter register it. Preston swore he'd seen Bridget driving the car multiple times over the past 2 months. My family had coordinated this deception. They'd conspired against my child to protect Bridget from consequences. The realization hit me like a physical blow. The worst part came next. Sergeant Morrison made the decision to take Violet into custody pending verification of ownership. He apologized but said with 3 consistent witness statements and a bill of sale, he had probable cause. My daughter would be held at the juvenile facility until everything got sorted out. Violet started crying harder. She looked at me with such betrayal in her eyes, as if I'd failed to protect her. Officers guided her to the patrol car while I screamed at them to wait, to just give me an hour to get the real documents. They couldn't do this to a 15-year-old child over a misunderstanding. Bridget stood there with the most satisfied smirk on her face. She'd won this round completely. My sister had crashed Violet's car, probably driving recklessly or while intoxicated, and instead of facing accountability, she turned my daughter into the villain. Grant put his arm around me as they drove away with Violet in the back seat. She looked so tiny behind that metal screen, her hands cuffed in front of her. The image burned itself into my memory. My husband murmured that we'd fix this, but his voice shook with fury and helplessness. We went home immediately to gather every piece of evidence. The original purchase agreement from the dealership, the title with our names clearly listed, the registration papers, the insurance documents showing Violet as a covered driver, even the bank statements proving we'd paid for the vehicle. I also grabbed my laptop because I kept every email exchange with the dealership during the buying process. Something made me stop and think strategically. My family had just committed several crimes. Filing a false police report, giving false statements to law enforcement, assault against me, conspiracy to frame a minor. If I played this correctly, I could ensure they faced real consequences instead of just clearing Violet's name. I called my friend Jessica, who worked as a paralegal. She connected me with a criminal defense attorney named Lawrence Mitchell. Despite it being a Saturday evening, Lawrence agreed to meet us at the police station. He listened to the whole story and immediately recognized what we were dealing with. Lawrence advised me to document everything. He suggested I not immediately present all the evidence but instead let the false narrative play out a bit longer. If my family believed they'd gotten away with it, they might make additional incriminating statements. He'd request copies of all police reports, witness statements, and any recordings from the scene. The next morning, we went to bail Violet out of juvenile detention.
At the next light, turn
My
left.
daughter had spent the night in a cell, treated like a criminal. She barely spoke during the drive home, just stared out the window with hollow eyes. That night broke something in her trust, and I swore my family would pay for it. Lawrence worked fast. He obtained copies of every statement Bridget, Kathleen,
At the light,
Preston
turn
had
left
given
onto
us.
Drinker Turnpike.
Their stories were surprisingly detailed and consistent, which actually worked against them. Too much coordination suggested planning rather than honest recollection. While Lawrence handled the legal groundwork, I started my own investigation. I contacted the dealership where we purchased
In 2.3 miles, turn
The
left
sales
onto
manager,
Phillips Road.
A helpful woman named Teresa, remembered us clearly. She pulled up our complete transaction history and provided certified copies of everything. Teresa was horrified when I explained what had happened and offered to testify if needed. I also reached out to our insurance company. They'd been notified of the accident by the police department, and an adjuster had already photographed the damage. The agent I spoke with, Michael, walked me through their findings. The crash had occurred on Riverside Drive at approximately 2:15 p.m. based on witness reports. The damage pattern indicated the driver had been speeding and lost control on a curve. Michael mentioned something interesting. Their investigation showed no evidence of mechanical failure. The car had been functioning perfectly before the crash. This ruled out any defense about equipment malfunction. Someone had simply been driving recklessly. I discovered something else during my document gathering. Our home security system had cameras covering the driveway where Violet's car had been parked. I'd forgotten about them in the chaos, but the footage was automatically backed up to the cloud. I reviewed the recordings and found exactly what I needed. Grant and I spent an entire evening going through months of footage to establish patterns. We compiled clips showing Violet's responsible use of her car over the 3 weeks she'd owned it. Every trip was documented with us supervising, her careful driving, her always checking mirrors and signals. The contrast with Bridget's reckless theft would be stark. I also gathered character witnesses. Violet's driving instructor, Mr. Harrison, provided a letter describing her as one of his most careful students. Her school principal wrote about her academic excellence and responsible behavior. Even our neighbors submitted statements about what a respectful, trustworthy child she was. Jessica, my paralegal friend, helped me create a timeline of events. We mapped out every phone call, text message, and interaction from that.
At the next light, turn left.
The timeline revealed gaps in my family's story. Bridget claimed she discovered the car missing at 1 p.m., but our security footage showed her taking it at 1:23 p.m. She lied about when she even noticed it was gone. During this investigation phase, I learned things about my family I've never known. Jessica helped me access public records. Bridget had 3 prior
At the light,
traffic violations
turn left
I'd
onto
never
Phillips
heard about.
Road.
2 speeding tickets and a reckless driving citation from 18 months ago. My parents had apparently paid her fines and kept it quiet. Roger had a history of bailing Bridget out of problems.
In 1.5 miles, turn left onto Main Street.
2 separate civil cases where my sister had damaged other people's property. One involved a fender bender where she'd rear-ended someone and tried to leave the scene. Another dealt with her breaking expensive equipment at a gym during an argument. The pattern was clear. My family had spent decades protecting Bridget from consequences. They'd paid off problems, covered up mistakes, and enabled her irresponsible behavior. This incident with Violet wasn't an isolated event. It was simply the first time someone fought back. I found old text messages between Kathleen and me that took on new meaning. Times when my mother had asked me to be understanding about Bridget's behavior. Moments when she'd suggested I was too hard on my sister for things like borrowing money and never repaying it. The gaslighting had been systematic. Grant discovered something while going through our financial records. 6 years ago, we'd lent Bridget $5,000 for what she'd claimed was a medical emergency. She'd promised to repay us within 6 months. We'd never seen a cent of it. When I'd asked about repayment, Kathleen had actually called me selfish for pressuring my sister during a difficult time. These discoveries fueled my determination. My family hadn't just attacked Violet in a moment of panic. They'd activated a lifetime pattern of protecting Bridget at anyone else's expense. The difference this time was that their scapegoat was a child who couldn't defend herself without help. Lawrence advised documenting my own injuries from the assault. I went to our family doctor, Dr. Stevens, who photographed the bruising on my arm from Preston's grip and the lingering redness on my face from Bridget's slap. The doctor's report noted injuries consistent with physical assault and recommended I file a police report. I did file that report, though Sergeant Morrison looked uncomfortable processing it.
At the next stop
He
sign,
denied
turn
what had
left.
happened. The assault had occurred in front of multiple officers. They simply hadn't intervened because they believed my family's lies about Violet and thought I was being hysterical.
At the
The
stop sign,
investigation
turn
also
left onto
revealed
Main
Bridget's
Street.
social media history beyond that one post. She had a pattern of dramatic storytelling online where she portrayed herself as a victim. Previous posts talked about unnamed family members who were jealous of her success, ungrateful for her generosity.
In 1.5 miles, the destination is on your right.
She'd been building a narrative about me for years. I contacted a few people who'd commented supportively on her posts. Some were mutual acquaintances who knew both of us. When I explained what had actually happened, several people admitted they'd always found Bridget's stories questionable but had given her the benefit of the doubt. One former co-worker of hers, Rachel, actually reached out separately to share her own experiences with my sister's dishonesty. The timestamp showed Bridget arriving at our house at 10:47 a.m., about 30 minutes after Grant and I had left. Violet let her in, and they spent time inside together. At 1:23 p.m., while Violet was
In 1 mile, the destination is on your right.
Bridget emerged from the house alone. She looked around furtively, then climbed into Violet's car and drove away. The camera angle captured her face perfectly. There was no question about who was driving. Bridget returned 2 hours later with the car damaged, the front bumper crumpled and the hood dented. She parked it hastily and rushed inside. 17 minutes after that, police cars appeared. Lawrence called this a gift. We had video evidence proving not only that Violet hadn't been driving, but that Bridget had taken the car without permission and returned it damaged. Combined with our ownership documents, this proved every element of my family's deception. But the attorney suggested we wait a bit longer. He wanted to see if my family would double down on their lies. If they made additional false statements or tried to elaborate on their fabrications, it would strengthen our case. Lawrence filed the necessary motions to have Violet's charges dismissed while building a case against my family. Over the next 3 days, my relatives called repeatedly. Kathleen left voicemail saying I needed to accept reality and get Violet professional help. Roger sent text messages claiming I was in denial about my daughter's behavioral problems. Preston called Grant directly, suggesting we consider sending Violet to a boarding school for troubled youth.
Go past the railroad crossing, then the destination is on your right.
That their continued insistence on Violet's guilt while knowing
Get out and watch too.
Thanks.
Go to your right a little bit.
All right. A little more?
Yeah, right. Well, good. You're good. Right there. Don't get into the car, don't worry. Good.
Don't get in mine, too.
They're only going to the mill today, by the way. They're not doing anything else. I heard on the scanner.
Well, I'm going to Lowe's to get my front door because it broke.
Oh, wow.
Go. Thanks.
This is a freight or this is like one of those special things?
It's a freight train.
Yeah. Wow. No ding, ding, ding. Look at that.
Must have broken. Or they turned off the circuits for that.
Kind of like in Messiah College.
Sorry?
Messiah College, they don't ding either.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know in Montclair, New Jersey, they don't blow the horn. That's where I used to live. Because
That's on the river line, right?
Huh?
CSX, right? The river line?
No. That's just New Jersey Transit.
Oh, okay.
It's Montclair. But, too many people were getting annoyed about the horns. And, I got this.
find Bridget, Kathleen, Roger, and Preston already seated in a conference room. They look confident.
Watch yourself, I'm getting ready to launch.
Alright.
You stay on that side, you'll be alright by then.
Alright.
No shit.
No to the railroad crossing.